At this end of this video series, you'll be able to make this cool looking chat system. Let me show you the inner working of this particular chat system. Right, as soon as you log in, the active users get highlighted here. For different active users will be highlighted here. And when I'll just show you the message system, like hi, how are you? These are normal messages if I'll be sending here. You can just see the message has been popping up. The chat bubbles are being popping up. And the most important part, the prerequisite of this project is that you must have some knowledge about Node.js. If you don't know Node.js, also this still there's no issue. You just need to install the Node.js in your system. And apart from there, you have to use Express and Socket.io. You need to install that two things also. And the main intention of this entire video series is that I'll be showing you only the socket, the functionality of this particular web system. I'll not be coming showing you all the design, the HTML. It will be already posted given in the description link, the front end of this entire page. So in this tutorial, I'll be just showing you the functionality of Socket.io and JavaScript in order to build this cool looking chat system. So let's get started. That is Express, HTTP port and Socket.io. Now first let us create the server and connect the socket with the server, and let's run the server. So I've used an variable app which will hold my Express module. Now we are creating the server and we'll be using HTTP module for that, create server, and we'll be passing that app which consists the Express module. Now the basic chat system which we'll implement is with the help of Socket.io. So we'll be using let io equals to Socket.io, the variables already declared above, and it consists the socket along with the server. So guys, welcome back. Let me complete the server first, and I'll be back with another part. So finally guys, we are at the end of creating a server. Now we have used the variables for creating the server. Now let's run the server in order to check whether it is running or not. So server.listen, and we'll be passing the port which I've already declared here. Support, and we'll be using a closure function in order to check whether our server is running or not. So just console.log your server is running on particular port number, or you can give your own message. You can custom your own message. I'm just giving your server is running on that particular port. Alright, and let me give some backticks. Guys, if this server is running properly, this is the first step in building up your chat communication system. So let's see. Let me open my terminal. I'm using Visual Studio Code. Let me run the server, nodemon.server.js. Okay, I think yes, there's somewhere. Okay, sorry guys, I've not declared the path module that is required by here. So path equals to required path. This is also built in Node.js module. This is it will tell the Node.js server that I am using a default path directory, or what is my home directory path. You can just see your server is running on port 30. So alright guys, this is the first step in building your chat communication system. So right now the server is built. Right now we have to communicate with this socket, right? So already I've declared the socket variable in IO. So IO dot connection. This will be socket connection, and this is the built-in socket method. When a client logs into his or her website or in client side, so this method gets emitted. So this is that on connection socket. So just let me log here. A user has been logged in order to show the user has been connected or not. Okay, let me run this. Let me go to my page. Okay, let me run the server localhost. Images are not being loaded, so I will get the checkpoint. Load the images, then I'll get back to you. Okay, guys, the images have come up. Sorry for the delay, but right now we can just use login function. Just log this user. Okay, let's see the messages are coming or not. It's an console user has been okay. I need to initialize the client side. I've not initialized the client side. This is the server side. So in public folder, there is an thing is that okay. When you are initializing the socket in your client side, guys, do remember you need to put this thing, the script source. Otherwise, that particular client side will not execute. So socket.io or socket.io.js and main.js is where we will be writing all the client side functions. So just let me initialize the client socket. Okay, so initialize the client socket. All right, now just write constant socket equals to IO. Just remember IO is that constant socket which we have defined in the server.js. Okay, now just let me run this thing. You can see that particular user has been logged in. All right, just let me log in this user. Just go to the terminal. You just say a user has been logged in. Guys, this is our second step, means our connection has been successfully loaded. You can just see the on connection, it will show me a user has been logged in. Alright, now as soon as a user is logged in, the first thing which we need to do is we need to get that particular username, right, who has been logged into our server side, and we need to give it an unique identifier so that particular user will be referred by that particular unique identifier. For this we are using window.location href. It will get the current URL. It's an JavaScript inbuilt function location.href. It will get the current URL. I think so. I need to change the URL structure, make it symbolic because both URL will not match. So I'll be using current URL instead. Give it a custom name. This is the current URL which you are fetching from here. And now this is the URL, and it will be using that object URL. This is a JavaScript URL object, and we'll be passing that particular current URL. Now what parameters or what value do we want from that particular URL? That is, in this case we are using only, we are finding that username, right? So we'll be getting help of such params command with the username value. So let me first write it. Dot get what you are finding here from this thing, that is username, right? This is the username we want, which is ben when. So let me run this username. Alright, just console.log whether it is coming or not, working or not. So let's check it out. Okay, let me log in once again just to check whether it is coming or not. Let me go to the console browser. You can just see BEN has been already highlighted. So means this is already working. This is the second step is over. Now we will be going with the third step. When we get the username, what should we do? We need to push this into our database server or into our server so that the connection can be established between both of that client. So let's see how can we do this. We'll be checking for the condition. If that particular user is not equals to space, then you can proceed with the later on the conditions. Alright. Okay, now what we'll do, what users has been joined in our client side, we need to emit this message to the server side. So this is the client side. We need to pass that okay, this particular user has been joined the particular chat group. So I need to emit this message to the server so that server can handle the backend of this thing. So you will be using socket.emit users join. This is the custom function and we are passing the current user. There is a get current user. So guys, let me complete this function. I'll get back to you. Okay, now guys, that's all. Just let me see whether that particular current user is being fetched on the server side or not. So just let me rerun from the terminal. Let's check whether that particular user is being highlighted or not. Alright, data.current is that current value which I already passed with the argument. So it will show in the terminal this thing. So let's say, let me refresh this thing. Let's say you can just see that current user Ben is already in the server side. Okay, fine. Now we need to use the particular socket client ID to make it as unique as possible, right? So let's see how can we do this. Alright guys, now the main part is already over. This is the third step which we have already completed. In this thing what you are doing, we are passing that user credential which is an object with username and socket ID. We are passing it into ref array and just log this ref array. I believe it will come in object style. We need to fetch it afterwards, but let's check whether it's working or not. Okay, let me go once again to the front end part. Okay, let me log this. Alright, it's already logged in. Dev, just let's do thing. Let's go to the terminal. Okay, you can just say I've already told you it will come in object matter. We need to fetch it afterwards. Okay, fine, means it's working, right? If I'll just click, there will be two arrays generated. Okay, fine, the two arrays are be generated. Now the main intention is that we need to emit this, or in other way, if I can tell you, the server needs to tell the client that yeah, hey, that I've already received that particular username, and I'm just emitting to the clients that I have received. So for this we'll be using broadcast messages, broadcast this message, and we'll be using io.sockets.emit. Sockets in the sense all the connected sockets, all the client will receive this messages that hey, that I've got this particular username, and if you are logged in into particular group, I'm already sending you this thing. So sockets.emit, another custom function, I'm making here announcement, and I'll be passing that particular array, right, array to the client side. So first let me just complete this thing with the main function in the client side, then I'll get back to you. Okay guys, and now let me run the server after this just to show whether that particular users, the active users are being shown on that active panel or not. So let's see. Alright, let me log in with different users name dev. Alright, and let me log in here with different name. Let it be something like tech or alright tech. Right, you can just see here an anchor tag has been displayed here, right, in both sides tech and dev, but both are different from that current user. Alright, so let me use a style of background transparent to the list tag and also assign a class links to the anchor tag so that you all can see it properly what I'm trying to do here. And let me add a class of links. You can get all the custom CSS styles I'll be giving in the download description for you. So let me refresh this thing. Okay, reload. You can just see now it's looking much more better, right? Alright, this is showing you an active user in that particular active user panel list. Okay, now let me inspect first to show you what I've done. Why did I add links first of all? So you can just see here a particular links class has been given to this particular anchor tag. The main idea behind this is that when I click on this particular link, it will show me the particular socket username and the socket ID, which is an unique identifier. So first, let me get the values of all the links which are present in that particular active container, and let me use an on-click add element just now to this so that I can fetch all the usernames with their respective socket ID. So let me do this first. Alright guys, now let me check whether that particular data user or the socket ID when I click on that particular link highlights in the console or not. So let me use console.log in order to find whether the particular thing are working or not. So let's check it. Alright, now let's rerun this thing project. Let me rerun this thing, all the thing, just to make sure. I'm rerunning the project because I just want to make sure whether the particular values are being correctly fetched or not. So let's see. Let me create login username. Alright, let me log in here. Alright, okay, let me log in here. Okay, fine. Okay, let me click on this thing, inspect that value, go to console and just click on the link. You can just see that particular socket client ID along with that particular username has been highlighted. So this is our fourth number step, and we are quite successfully implementing our chat system step by step. So guys, what we'll do next, we need to create a chat box, right? When you want to chat with someone, some of the users, you need to create a chat box. It should be in a particular chat window. So the next step is that we'll be using the socket ID along with the user to fetch the details of that particular user and send message to the to your friends, to your clients, something like that. So you can just see I've already initialized a class specific chat window, and inside this window we'll be using that particular chat box. So first let me complete this design, then I'll get back to you. Boxes, let me first complete this thing. That is that when if you're logged in your own screen, and if you want that particular active user to send a message, so the server needs your socket client ID too. So for this thing I'm using that if rows.username is equals to your current username, then we will fetch that particular client ID, means your particular client ID will be fetching here. So let's see how can this be done. Alright, I've just used this variable. I've already declared here. Let socket ID is this one. Now, let me create this particular list. Prepare the chat window of this particular list. So, after preparing this chat window, you can assume or you'll already get to know what I am planning to do here. So, I'll get back to you guys. First, let's see this. Okay guys, we are almost at the end of creating this particular chat box, which will be inside this specific chat window, and we are appending this entire form along with the chat messages to this element. This is the div class which I have created here, and this is the element which I am integrating or appending to here. So in this we are already defined a function get messages. First let me write all these functions, then I'll tell you about the functions importance, why I'm considering this get messages function. All right, so there's a message which we are passing in the console. First let log that particular message in the console. Let's go to our screen, front end development. All right, let's see there the hello message. You can just see it has been already passed here, right? Now what we'll do is that we'll be passing this particular message to the server side. How will the server know, right, that to whom we are sending that particular message, from whom we are sending that particular message? So emit specific user. This is a custom user function which I have defined here, and along with this we are passing some arguments, some parameters, that is the connection ID, the socket ID of your own, the message which we want to pass, the user from where we are receiving this particular messages, and to socket means to whom we are passing this particular socket messages, and we need to declare this thing on the server side. And below this there is another function document.query selector. Let me uncomment the function. Let me uncomment this line piece of code. Now it just signifies that when you're entering the send function, the message box get cleared out. The value will be space. There will be no value. So let me go to the server side, and guys, let me complete this specific user method. Alright guys, now we are creating that specific user emission method in the server side to just let know the server that to whom messages are being passed out. So first let me complete this entire function, then I'll get back to you. And this is the second last step of this particular video series, guys. I think so you are enjoying this video series. It will take some patience if you're a beginner to know all about this thing, but if you follow on this tutorials, you'll get to know much of it, and it is very easy. Specifically, it is very easy for you all to understand these things. Alright, so let me log this message whether the messages are coming or not. I think so I need to rerun the messages. I think so restart the node server just to check whether all the things are in correct values or not. Let me rerun this thing, nodemon server.js. Alright, now let me open the chat box. Alright, let me enter some username. Okay, alright, let me first inspect. Alright, just write a message. You can just see the message box get cleared once I send. You can just see that thing. Now you can just see here the message has been highlighted in the server side, that is the terminal. So now we have to create list boxes, the chat bubbles, which the user will encounter when somebody sends the messages inside the chat window. Right, now for this also we need to pass the value to the client side, right? Because this is a server side, it will emit all the things on the console in the terminal, but we want that to be in the front end. So we are using another socket function, that is socket.emit specific chat. Alright, and the passing that data. Just remember here io.to data connected is if you want to send a specific message to a particular user which we are sending in this project. So let me go to the client side and let me complete this function specific chat, then I'll get back to you. Okay guys, now you can just see the connected ID, the message, the user from whom you are sending, to whom you are sending, and this socket. Right now we can use a list of chat boxes to design this particular messages. So let's see how can we do the inside this chat message. Okay guys, now I'll be creating this list box. So it they are the various representation of the chat boxes, the bubble chats. So I've just created this list of documents along with the user, the messages to be passed, and the socket to whom we are sending. Right? You can just see the socket to whom you're passing and the to socket. Right? So just say this thing. Now let's dive this thing into action. Data.toSockets is already there. Just inspect this thing inside this chat message. You can just see there's a user chat specific with a particular socket ID, right? And we'll be passing the messages to this particular class only. So it makes a particular specific user box done there. So let's see this. Let us refresh this page. All right. Now just click this thing. All right. You can just see the messages has been popped out to Ben. Right now you just see Dave is saying me hi. So this is the thing. Right now we have to make the logout button in this chat box. And logout button in this chat box is very much easy. You just need to create an anchor tag, and I've used some font awesome icons here. So it is really very easy to create a chat box here. Now the main intention of this logout is that I'm telling the socket in the server side that guy dude, I'm already done with the chat box. I'm ready to leave this uh, particular portal. So help me to log me out so that my friends or my client users will not see me in the active users list. So this is the main intention of logout users. So first let me complete all this function, and most probably guys this is the last function in this video series. This is the socket disconnection, where the active sockets will be there, but the sockets which I am disconnecting, these sockets will not be there. In this tutorial guys, I've just tried to make a best effort from my side. If you like this tutorial, please share and subscribe with your friends, and if you also want um, if you didn't like actually if you didn't like this video, you can just mention in the comment box. I'll try to improve myself, and this is just an attempt from my side just to make a beginner just free on a particular socket IO programming language. So you enjoy this video, I guess you like this video.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. See the horizon turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways.
Okay guys, finally the logout functionality has been adopted. Now just we need to create a particular array of this thing, and we need to pass the user array who are not been active, and we need to make a new array for this, and we need to pass this thing into normal functions. So just wait, let me show you. Okay guys, now the array has been prepared. We just need to emit this particular announcement, right? Announcement this particular socket ID to the client side, so that the number of active users get listed out and the inactive users get disabled from here. Alright, there's problem with the socket spelling. So alright, now let me emit this particular message. Just let me copy this same thing, broadcast this announcement, and instead of ref we are passing here xt. So any active users get highlighted and inactive users will not be highlighted in the client side. So let me do here login. Alright, so probably guys, this is all about this tutorial. I've tried my best of effort to explain you all, and if you need any help regarding the socket IO, I'm there always to help you all. Right, the active users get deleted, and this is the full function of a disconnection. And after that you can make your own chat windows. You can make multiple chat windows with this technique functions. So multiple chat windows, and you can emit particular messages to a particular socket, particular user. Things I need to restart all these things. Need to restart all these things as well as okay. Let me restart the Node.js server. Okay, server has been started. Let me delete all these things. All right. Let me start the emit page announcement. All right. Another. Let me open multiple tabs here. All right. Now let me log in. Here you can just see there are two active users in Geek, that is Ben and Tech. So Tech and Geek in Ben. So let me send the messages, specific messages to each of the users. You can just see it have already come here, right? Now for Tech, Geek is there. You can open another terminal. You can just see there are two chat boxes are opened here, and you can send specific messages to specific chat boxes. You can just see specific chat messages in specific boxes. So guys, thank you. If you like my video, please share and subscribe.